Listening to WSCA-LP Portsmouth Community Radio. My name's Shawn Henderson. And the name of the show is called Stay Tuned. I'm here every single Friday from 1:30 to 5. And every single Friday I try to bring you live in studio music. And today is no different. Well, it's a little different because I have Michael Tarbox here joining me today. And it's the first time he's ever joined us. And I'm very excited about that. So let's see if I can hear him say hi to me.
Hi, Shawn.
Oh, yeah. See, you sounded good. You sounded good already. I like that.
It's all downhill from here.
I'm not saying you sound the best you're going to, because, we're looking for great things from you today. And we're also looking for great things from you over at the Portsmouth Book and Bar. Michael's performing tonight right here in Portsmouth. And if you get a chance to go see him, I encourage you to do that. But right now, I just encourage you to stick around for the next hour or so, 40 minutes, and listen to him perform live in the studio, and we'll chat and do all the stuff that we normally do. So what I want to do is welcome you to the show, as I just did.
Thank you.
And what we'll do is we'll start with the live thing, and then we'll come back and shoot the breeze. How's that?
Okay, sounds good. This one's called Whose Fault But Mine. Whose fault but mine? I was blind, I fell behind. 7 bells that chime down every street, back and forth in rhyme. Oh, I hear them sing, and now they sing for me. I've remembered dreams, I say they sing for me. Whose fault but mine? I looked up from my windowsill, and every sun aligned, every sky over Mission Hill. Who are these strangers? Only passerby. Thought I knew them well, but then my senses lied. Whose fault but mine? Phantoms rise and shapes converge, and all down the line, gone again in a spiral surge. Soot and sunlight, oh my soul, I am reclaimed. Despite all I thought, I am reclaimed. Whose fault but mine? I was blind, I fell behind the 7 bells that chime. River Street, back and forth in rhyme. Whose fault but mine? Whose fault but mine? Whose fault but mine? Whose fault but mine?
Very nice.
Thank you.
Michael Tarbox live in the WSCA studios, a song called Whose Fault But Mine. You can hear that off of Michael's first solo CD called,
right.
What's the first CD called? My Definitive Joy? Or
My Primitive Joy.
My Primitive Joy, sorry.
That's all right.
And, so I encourage you to check that out, too. So that was a very nice job.
Thank you.
I wanted to, if you don't mind, I wanted to start, I was introduced to your music through the Tarbox Ramblers, obviously.
Sure.
And so I want to just start with that. And one of my biggest questions is why only 2 albums? Because those first 2 albums, the second album I love the first album, but the second album just blew me away. I just thought that was so great.
Thanks so much.
And it just seems like I'm very selfish, and I want more. Yeah. So I'm just wondering why. You guys have been together for 13 years or so, is that right?
Yeah, but the band has been through many sort of incarnations. We started off being kind of a jug band, and we became like a small gospel orchestra for a little while. Really playing traditional music. And when we put out our first record, the band personnel, the lineup had kind of fallen into place. We had a regular cast of characters. For a few years, it was really me, and then whoever else was available. And I have a lot of friends in the scene, so that was great. But the lineup solidified. We get the first record out, and. But, you know, we put out the second record, and the label dropped us. It was as simple as that. I mean, I think that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't really, they don't explain those things. But I will say that label culture, you know, labels have cultures, and those cultures can change.
Right.
And it's kind of a classic story. We had people that were, you know, that loved the band, and there was kind of a, you know, the culture at the label changed, and the people that brought us in were out. I mean, and so we get dropped, but also the people that kind of brought us in were let go. It was just sort of one of those things. And I don't know, you know, where how the record resonated with the you know, with the label, because it was very different from our first record. It was very different sound from the band they signed. In all fairness to them, I mean, that
makes sense. I guess.
Yeah, you know, I mean, they signed a band that was playing kind of unusual arrangements of old traditional American songs, but by the time the second record had come out, we were trying to do more original stuff and get an original sound, and it was a lot kind of a heavier sound.
Yeah, I love that sound. You know, it has a when I was describing it to somebody, and probably no one's probably described it, but it reminds me of sort of Black Sabbath in a way, as stupid as that sounds.
Wow.
It has it has a sort of that industrial kind of energy to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's to say,
that's an interesting way of putting it.
So,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad you know what I mean.
Well, the reason I know
and
what
I didn't
you
want
mean
to sound insulting, but
is I borrowed my van's in the shop, and I borrowed my wife's car to you know, to do everything, do my chores and, you know, errands and all that stuff. And she had the record in the CD player this week, and I heard the record for the first time in maybe 5 or 6 years. Yeah, and I was like, I actually contacted the producers. I was like, God, I haven't heard it in so long. Thank you for the great job you did, because they did great work on it. But a lot of it, the drum sound is so heavy, and that's why I know what you say when you say call it industrial. There's something about the drum sound that's just,
absolutely. And I mean, and your guitar work and everything, really, and your vocal approach. I think it was that all. It was this all-encompassing kind of. You know, you can almost hear steel, you know, hammer on steel in the background. You know, I mean, it would fit. You know,
thank you very much.
It was a brilliant album.
Thank you very much.
Both your Tarbox Ramblers are brilliant.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I want to work with those guys again, having heard that, you know.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, maybe that's a serendipitous moment, or maybe your wife is just secretly telling you something.
You know what it is? It's my daughter. Like, she likes to listen to the record. She's really into that record, and she just she just says "loud daddy" in the backseat of the car, and that's what she means. Play that record. So it's kind of nice to have your kid, you know, on your side. Anyway,
I guess so.
Maybe the record label wasn't, but
especially a 2-year-old that's saying "turn it up."
Yeah, turn it up.
She's going to be a rocker.
Loud daddy. So
that's funny.
That's right.
Well, that's good. Well, thanks for explaining that to me, and I hopefully you do come in to get back together with those guys, because I'd love another Tarbox Ramblers.
Yeah,
album.
well,
especially if it's got that kind of groove.
Well, the personnel has changed a lot in the band since then. I mean, it's gone through a few different incarnations. Shortly thereafter, that particular band, people went their way, and I toured with the same guys for maybe 4 years after that. And then, we had a daughter, and I've been kind of sticking close to home and doing more solo work. I really don't want to tour, you know, having a baby around.
No, right.
It's great to have her around. So, but you know, who knows what's going to happen next? But I'd love to put out another record, and I like the sound of that one too.
Well, we'll come back and we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about your solo stuff and whatever else you want to talk about for that matter. But why don't we do another live thing?
Okay, sounds good. Sounds really good. I'm actually I'm going to retune my guitar a little bit here.
Okay.
Changing.
Turn that down a little. Nice old guitar, I'm sure.
This is called Hey, Mr. Starlight. Hey, Mr. Starlight, you got me in your thrall. Brain starts beating, the ancient voices call. Hey, you see, I can't follow. The past is a living wall. And all endeavor, oblivion writes its name. Forever tomorrow, whoa, written in flame. Hey, the way that I'm living, baby, it's a dirty shame. My brain starts to beat and the hour begin to bleed. Your lights are burning circle around every word I read. But I've been to the city, I got nothing left to need. Hey, Mr. Starlight, you got me in your thrall. My brain starts beating, the ancient voices call. Hey, you see, I can follow. The past is a living wall. Hey, you see, I can follow. The past is a living wall.
Nice.
There you go.
Hey, Mr. Starlight.
Thank you.
Michael Tarbox live in the WSCA studios. Absolutely fantastic. Another song you can hear. A live cut off his debut solo CD. You had 2 solo CDs out.
That's correct, yes.
And 2 albums with the band.
Yep.
And I went, I don't have the solo CDs.
Oh,
and,
I'll get you a copy.
And I went looking for them the other day.
Yep.
And I can't find them anywhere. I went to Bull Moose, and they were like, he's not even listed.
Yeah.
So
I didn't put it on iTunes. I didn't do anything with
Really?
it. I didn't do anything with it.
So you just wanted to be as obscure as possible?
I probably should.
Or
What's that?
You wanted to be as obscure as possible?
It might be more of a statement about my sense of the place in the musical world. It's kind of like you can get it through my website, but I'll actually send you a copy.
Oh, that's cool. Great.
Our copies. Yeah, I didn't put them up there at all. But I may. You know, now I'm starting to tour again now, and maybe now that I'm on the road. The first one I did put out there, and it's available through all the kind of the regular venues. But the second one, the newer one, which is a couple months old now, I haven't put it out there yet. But I mean, I'm selling them at shows and stuff like that.
Right. Well, that's good. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. When I went and I said, I got the Ramblers disc, but I want to get his solo stuff. And they were like, he's not even listed in here.
Yeah, you just have to go through my website.
Okay, that's good to know. So for the people at home, if you're interested in getting Michael's first 2 solo CDs, go to his website, michaeltarbox.com.
Thank you.
And I encourage you to definitely check that out. And great stuff, as always.
Thank you.
And I was saying earlier that because I was looking for this stuff, out into the world, I'm not smart enough sometimes to just go to the computer and check it out. And then it was like last night at 8 o'clock, I was like, I bet I can go to his website and hear some of this stuff. So that's what I did. Yeah, so I didn't really delve into it as deeply as I normally would, but I really liked it. And there was and the new album has a sort of it's softer. Does that
Well, the first solo record I did, My Primitive Joy, is very quiet, very quiet, and by design. And it was really I recorded at the the Ramblers bass player's studio in Nashville, and a lot of it was, I mean, there was almost a duo collaboration quality to. I mean, a number of the songs on there, like we just come up with arrangements and just play things kind of quickly, and we liked the way it sounded. It felt really nice. The new one, it's certainly quieter than the second Ramblers record, which you described as being kind of heavy.
Right.
But it's a bit more of a rock record, at least to my ears, you know. But I mean, it's all over the map. There's a lot of different types of stuff on there.
Yeah, well, I didn't get to dig into it as deeply as I wanted, and some of the things I heard were a little bit, you know, subdued, I guess. Not really subdued, but you know, a lot lighter than the second Ramblers album. That's for sure.
Definitely. Well, you know, the thing is too. I mean, you know, being on the road with the band, something happens. You know, there's the collaborative feeling and the chemistry are such that, you know, it kind of takes on a life of its own, which is great. But these records, the solo records, are more about me sitting around the house writing songs quietly. I mean, and thinking, oh, I can perform these as a solo thing. And that's kind of the way they were written, just because I'm not playing as much on the road or anything like that with the band. Now, and I think it's reflected in the sound.
When you made the choice to, did having a child make that choice for you, or did you make a choice to have the child and sort of come back from the road?
We decided that it felt like it was time to kind of, you know, we'd been talking about having a child, and it was time, you know, and so then I just felt that it would be a really good thing to be able to spend time, you know.
It's great if you have that option to do so.
It's luxurious, you know. It's really luxurious. So I mean, it was just, but I think the music just reflects the fact that I was sitting around kind of very quietly, you know, quietly playing for myself, rather than being out like with a rock band every night.
Right.
You know?
So how did that land on you? I mean, how does that fit with your soul? I mean, is that something that you're finding that you want to do more of? Or, you know, how did that land? That quiet,
do more quiet music.
Well, that quiet approach. You know, how does that inform? You know, because you're coming from a whole different place, and I'm sure I'm butchering this question, but you're coming from a whole different place, and then then you're sort of at home, and it seems like a whole new way of approaching music and approaching songwriting.
Well, it is. You know, for me, I think part of it is that for a long time I was on the road and with the same group of people. And I think it's harder to do that for me now because I don't have label support. Like even after, you know, we put out our second record and we didn't have the label behind us anymore. Through our old booking person and my own enterprise, I was able to keep the ball rolling. But I found that if you, even if you take basically 3 years off from touring like I do, it's like the landscape really changes. You know, it's like I'm calling clubs and, you know, the booking person that I knew and loved has moved on or whatever. So there's a whole new set of challenges. So it's kind of like, geez, I wonder, can I recreate the experience that I had making, say, the last Ramblers record, which was of people playing pretty much every night, you know, 200 dates a year, you know, and I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if financially it's possible. So,
is it something you want to do?
I wouldn't want to do it that much, but I'd like to do it more than I do now. You know, I'm starting to play a lot more. I mean, that's why I'm in Portsmouth tonight. And it's like suddenly I just started feeling like, man, I got to start booking some shows and doing it. So, but it's financially it gets harder, and so there's less enticement to form a group. You know, it's like everybody, my friends are kind of geezers now, and you know, people aren't as willing to travel and stuff. So it's a little harder. But the chemistry, you can create great music, you know, just with your friends, and I have no complaints about the music I'm playing with band members now. But whatever happens to create a record like the last Ramblers record, that probably won't happen just because we can't play as much and sustain it. So,
well, hopefully you can create the record anyway, but not you know, and that's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes it's, you know, it's hard to promote and it's hard to tour and it costs a lot of money.
It's really hard. But, you know, even when the
music business has changed so much, you know. I mean, people are, you know,
so much.
They're not going out as much, and they don't want to go see live music or something.
It's a
whole different world. You're right.
It's a whole different thing. So yeah.
All right. Well, you got your guitar in hand.
I got a guitar in hand. Should I proceed?
Sounds good. Yes.
This is a newer one. It's from the new record. It's called When the Fire's Out. when the fire's out and day is ending and you're doing without and you stop pretending. See the trees bowed down in silhouette. The rain on the window will help you forget when the truth is out. When the truth is out and the game is over and you just found out that your world's grown colder. See the trees bowed down in a fine array. Four winds carry the day away when the truth is out. When you stayed too long in a house divided and you're feeling strong but you're undecided, when silver leaves shiver in the sun, you know that the change has finally come when the truth is out. Stayed too long in a house divided and you're feeling strong but you're undecided, when silver leaves shiver in the sun, you know that the change has finally come when you stayed too long. When the truth is out, when the truth is out.
Brilliant. Love that. When the Fire's Out's the name of that song. Excellent.
Thank you.
And you can hear that off Michael's brand new solo disc. And Works and Days is the name of that disc.
That's right.
And you can find it on his website, michaeltarbox.com, or you can find it at the show, and I'm sure you can find it at the show tonight, where he's performing right here in Portsmouth over at the Book and Bar. No cover for this show, so you can go on out and just have a blast.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be cool over there. And this is the first time Michael's played in Portsmouth in a while, and the first time ever over at the Book and Bar. And it's also his first time right here on WSCA and on Stay Tuned, so we're very honored and proud to have him join us today for sure. Let's see, where do I want to go next? I wanted to talk about the new album and how that came to be, and just a little bit about the production. I know that you've had some, there's other personnel on the disc. Zach Hickman is one of them. Plays bass. He plays for Josh Ritter, John Sands, and Tom Weston. Zach, I'm more familiar with Zach, and I just love his work. And
he's great. He's a fantastic bass player, great guy, and I've been playing with him basically since he moved to Boston. So that was real. But it was the first time we really recorded together, so that was really nice. It was really cool.
That's fantastic. Is that something that that you asked him for, or how did that group of people come together?
I just wanted to work with some people that were just really good musicians that could, we could come up with arrangements fairly quickly, just because working on a shoestring. So, and Zach came to mind because he's one of the busiest, maybe the busiest musician I know.
He seems to play with everybody.
He does play with everybody. He's kind of like the house bass player to the, I don't northern New England. So there's Zach, and then John Sands. We had done a few shows together, and he's best known for playing with like Amy Mann. He did that. Oh, yeah. He played with Amy for years. I think he's playing with Laurie McKenna now, and he's just, we did a few shows together, and I mean, he's just a brilliant musician. He's one of those guys that can't not be creative, you know what I mean? It's like he just is, he constantly comes up with like these arrangements that are really fascinating, but really great. So I really wanted to work with him.
Yeah,
so
that's nice.
And that was real nice, and that's what happened too with him.
So is that something that, have you always recorded like that, to have that kind of freedom where you go in and say, let's open it up, you guys give me what you got, or?
Well, you know, with the first Ramblers record, they were basically songs that we've been playing live, with a few, you know, arrangement curveballs that we came up with in the studio. The second Ramblers record, I was writing a lot of those songs as we were recording it, like and that was, I wanted to do it that way just because it seemed kind of cool.
Right.
And you know, it turned out pretty nicely, you know.
A lot of pressure, I would think.
It is a lot of pressure, but it seemed like it felt pretty good, like, and it felt like it was like a chance, but it seemed like that's an important thing to do. So, and those arrangements came about right on the spot, you know, right on the spot. And it was kind of similar, I guess, with the most recent record. The songs were written, but they were very, very raw, you know, and so it was more of an arrangement thing. So anyway, yeah, it was kind of free, it was kind of open.
Right. Well, that's good. I mean, I think that, and I haven't dug into it, so I can't speak for that openness on it. But I'm sure that it is just that. I'm sure you'd be able to feel it. You know.
Well, one thing that happened is, like, you know, like we'd like start to kind of jam in the studio, and there were songs that we ended up playing, like the last one actually that I just played. I hadn't intended to record that, but I just started playing on it. Just, you know, we kind of goofing around with it, and it kind of took on a life of its own. Yeah. And I think some of the best moments on any record are doing things that you hadn't anticipated doing, and finding that it's really fun and really cool. So that's
right on. Well, and I hadn't gotten that deep into the album. That as I'm looking on your website here, it's down near the end when the fire's out. Yep. And but by that, it was awesome. That was really good. So I'm glad I'm glad you kept it on there.
Thank you.
Were there any other songs on the album that you were, you know, wondering about, or thinking that you might not keep?
Oh boy, let's see. I'm kind of blanking on the songs that we did. Such a blur. Well, I know there's a song in there. It's called the Tower of Works and Days, and that was we recorded that, and my voice was gone. I mean, and I started reciting the verses, thinking, well, maybe we'll get an instrumental take, and maybe I can do a vocal later over this. But it kind of took on its own character. It was like this recitation, and but you can really hear if you listen to my voice. I try to sing at the beginning, and like there's just this gasp that comes out, and so we ended up keeping that. That's an example of something like that.
Oh, neat.
I mean,
cool.
it was not expected to go that way at all. And when I perform it, generally, I stick with the melody that I originally worked with, because doing the recitation again will just. It would feel weird, you know, but it worked on that day at that time.
Oh, that's fantastic. I can't wait to hear that. It sounds like something Jim Morrison would do, or something like that. But.
Yeah, hey, if it works for him.
Right on. Time right now is about 20 minutes before the hour of 5 o'clock. We're live in the studio with Michael Tarbox, and he's performing right here in Portsmouth tonight, and I encourage you to check him out. MichaelTarbox.com if you want to learn more about him. Go to his website. You can there's a link there that you can go to his Bandcamp page, and you can listen to all these songs before you buy the album. So I encourage you to do that as well. And yeah, well, he still has a guitar in hand, so let's do just do another one.
All right, this one's called Jack Flood, and this is for a buddy of mine who's kind of a brilliant guy, but struggled all his life with mental illness and addiction and everything else. It's just he's kind of inspired me in a lot of ways. It's called Jack Flood. And you fell into madness as some men drift to sleep, but your vision reclaimed you on the waters of the deep. And burdened with confusion, you chained yourself to the night. You forged your songs in darkness. They were mirrors filled with light. and they echoed with ecstasy and emptiness that like had not been seen. They were elegant and they were brutal, like junk and amphetamine. And yours were the anguished angels whose suffering couldn't make them saints, who transformed themselves anyway, despite life's sad restraints. And you sang like an avenger, and you sang with a savage heart, and your song's gonna sing forever, such was your tender heart. And you stood for what was primitive, and you stood for the sublime, and you stood for what was difficult, and your work stood the test of time. Oh, Jack Fly,
Very nice. Jack Flood's the name of that song. And again, you can hear that off Michael's brand new album called Works and Days. And
thank you.
When I say Michael, it is Michael Tarbox joining us live in the studio right now. And very pleased to have you. Thank you so much for coming in today and taking the time. And
my pleasure.
And,
really,
joining us.
Thank you for having me. I really.
Oh, God,
really
it's my pleasure. I've always wanted to meet you. I think a friend of mine, Don Conoscente.
Yeah.
Do you know Don? You must know Don because he told me to look you up, and that was years ago.
I know his name for sure. I definitely know his name, but I don't. Maybe we've met, but I don't know.
He's well, he lives out in Mexico now. Short guy. Just
he lives in Mexico.
Yeah, and I was in Tao, was it Tao or Tao, whatever, New Mexico, and he is just brilliant guitar player. So
wow.
This was years ago when I was running a venue up in Kennebunk, and he was like, "Oh, you just got to check out Michael Tarbox."
What was the place you ran in Kennebunk?
It was called the Kennebunk Coffee House.
Yep.
And I did that for a dozen years or so before I became famous here at the community radio station, or infamous maybe is the right word. But so yeah, I can't thank you enough for coming in, and
my great pleasure.
I think I mentioned your website a couple of times, but let me do it again: michaeltarbox.com. And so, is there anything else I should have asked or that I didn't ask? I know we came into this.
Oh boy, I don't know. I think that's a pretty good range of stuff.
So you're doing the show tonight, and is there? And you said you're getting back into touring. What does that future look like?
Well, I have a gig out in South Hadley tomorrow night, solo gig. Then we're playing up in Brownfield, Maine, at the Stone Mountain Center next weekend.
Are you doing that with the Ramblers or yourself?
With the Ramblers, yeah. I'm doing a lot of Ramblers shows now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I've heard nothing but great things about that space. So that's
Carol Noonan.
That's right.
Yeah, she's done great things. I've never been there, but I've heard everyone that goes there just raves about the place. So.
Yeah, and I know musicians just love it, you know.
Right.
And you know, it just means a lot. I think having a musician that owns a venue is a huge.
It's huge. Yeah,
you know.
Definitely.
So yeah, we're really looking forward to playing up there. So
anyone that's ever been to a show, and I guess there's a lot of the shows they're just packed. So, but anyone that's ever been to a show outside of musicians as well just love the place too.
Really
so
great.
it's a win-win for sure.
Looks like a beautiful space.
Well, good for you. And you can learn more about his touring schedule on his website as well, michaeltarbox.com. So we have time for one more live thing if you want to throw it at us.
Very good. This is a brand new one. It's called When the Riverboat Comes.
Nice.
Hold on, let me tune up a little bit here. The disadvantages of using a Chromiola guitar. When the riverboat comes. When the riverboat comes, I'm really open my mind. I'll leave those blues and demons in the dust so far behind. When the riverboat comes, I'll forsake the plow, make the Mississippi home. at least for now. Locusts sing their praises to the sun. They don't care a thing which way that old river runs. When the riverboat comes, you see it through my eyes. How could you believe all those rumors and lies? I've been bound by sorrow, I'll change my ways. Come tomorrow at the break of day, when the riverboat comes down around the bend, I'll be reunited with my comrades again. The music's sweet, don't need no words, and when we meet, you know we'll sing like the birds. When the riverboat comes, I'm gonna play it straight. I ain't gone to argue, never gone to hesitate. Hollow hopes made me wander like a ghost, till I was a stranger to them I love the most.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. When the riverboat comes, Michael Tarbox live at the WSCA studios. Absolutely fantastic. Go and check him out tonight over in, well, right here in Portsmouth, over at the Book and Bar. And, yeah, so that's it. Well, as I said, it was a pleasure having you here, and it's an open-ended invitation. Whenever you're back in the area, you ever want to try out some new stuff, just give me a call, or I'm always happy to have you. What I think I'm going to do, if you don't mind, is michaeltarbox.com. You can go to his website, go to his Bandcamp page, and you can sample his brand new album called Works and Days. I'm going to play that song that you had mentioned, The Tower of Works and Days, the one where you do the when you do this spoken word thing.
Sure.
So I want to thank Michael for coming in. I want to thank Steve, my camera guy, for being so gracious as well. And I want to thank everyone at home for watching and listening. The name of this song is called The Tower of Works and Days, and somewhat the title track off of Michael Tarbox's most recent release.
Oh, your glance is like a whisper, your face is like a prayer, your words like paper airplanes float along the air. Everybody's going, I am going too. What kind of fate is this? I should go there with you. All the flowers stand in line just to sing your praise, and you're looking so divine outside the Tower of Works and Days. Whose heart is a boundless fathom, whose soul a mystic span, singing with every atom, the Creator's master.
That was awesome, guys. Holy crap.